Hi, everybody. I wish everybody a happy new year, the best you can get it that way. And we have a few questions. Always important, from my point of view, of course, is if anyone feels like they can send some questions in, I'd really appreciate it. We have a few weeks left before the seminar on the 18th, but always need questions. Thank you in advance for doing that. This first question is interesting. They're all interesting, but this is from Carol Corbet. You mentioned, she says, be able to functionally know you are capable. What does that mean? That's a very unusual. I normally, when I say these things, sometimes I sometimes really like to sneak them in and see if anybody actually notices them. That's partially true, at least. You have to have a sense of humor in these things. What that really means is there is a place inside of our personality construct that is always willing to open a little bit. And I said a little bit. But it's fascinatingly focused on maintaining a constructed system, which is very valuable in maintaining the originality of let's say, an internal semi-chartered goal in life. Whatever that means. And what it really ends up being is a kind of method that an individual has of maintaining a sense of value that is appreciated mainly by them. And this is normal in our world. 8 billion people do the same thing. So, in this question, being able to functionally know you are capable, I was engaging with the idea of preparing within to be able to notice the difference between expressions as you come up with them that are personalized and a feed that comes in from another state. We'll call it a higher state. And this is often talked about by many people simply because they have a personality system. We all do, of course. And we want stuff that aligns with that puts forward our personality construct in such a way as to be increase the value of it, not only within ourselves, but externally. And this is one of the most difficult things that sages of all kinds, philosophers, have been talking about for long, long periods of time, right back into certainly Greek times, and we don't have an awful lot of information about material that comes before some of those Greek backgrounds, Greek philosophers. In that, if you get to know how you really are as an individual, then you get to understand how the species is. Well, this is not something we want to really know. We're more interested in ourselves. So, getting to understand how you are and how you function does not include purporting to be perfect or purporting to be really the lowest of the low. Either one of those are just, that's a relationship with how the personality has been formed. So how do you get to link up with that higher state? And how do you know that it's different than your personality just feeding you information that would be really helpful to you to do what you have been doing all along? This is a very difficult thing. And to actually functionally know that, you have to be willing to allow yourself to be honest with yourself. Well, that's up for grabs as well. Personality can honestly believe that it is absolutely perfectly right in just about anything, or perfectly not so right in just about anything, or be adamant about how important they are, or adamant about how unimportant they are, depending on how you've set things up and learned a little bit about how to function in an image that you happen to like, whatever that image is. So nobody likes to hear that, and that's justifiable. Certainly personally justifiable. But this other state, this internal place where you can allow yourself to, first of all, learn how to pause a bit, even after you function in a certain way, anyway, and see you as a functioning person, and this is what you tend to do. Our reflexes will guide us in that, except we have an altruistic way of looking at our reflexes. We look at them as if ours are more right than somebody else's, and sometimes other people's are worthwhile looking at. But those constructed images become very important to us. They're symbolic in a kind of a way. They're not really real as we think they are, but nonetheless, that's the illusion of the personality's way of engaging with life. This whole idea about being able to notice how you are actually functioning is very difficult, and it has been talked about for eons of time by almost every philosophical background, wherever that may originate. And decent philosophers have talked about the difficulty of having it really be honorably occurring in an individual. So why would you want to do that? Well, there's another idea. The idea is that those higher states are already connected to us, but we fill in all of the possible gaps that can occur in our world by how we think we should be seen, how we think the world should be, how we think this should be and that should be, and we fill it in with all kinds of other material which validates our own positions and place in the world. In doing this, some words have come up, and they have often been touted as the monkey mind, for example. The mind that keeps chattering all the time about this and that and so many other things. Learning how to have that quiet down is just the first step. Why would you want to have it quiet down when it's the thing that is supporting your emotional reflexive engagement with life, and how that seems to be so valuable to you the way it seems to exist? Yeah, it's a good question. Why would you want to do that? Well, one reason may be so that you can broaden out beyond what you've already constructed. Another version of what might be there. Well, but that would be kind of annoying, wouldn't it? And sometimes valuable, perhaps when it's dealing with other people, but not so much when it's dealing with us. So you have to have a sense of humor about that, or not. I think a sense of humor about it is more important than anything, but each to his own way of thinking. And sometimes, very likely, I don't think that's very humorous when it touches on something that is core and it's difficult to deal with as an aspect of an individual's life. So when you're looking at it like that, then there is another word that crops up. The word is sincerity, and how difficult it is to be sincere to an altruistic concept that is not in alignment with you being you, unless you are deluded into thinking that all the time you are always right, and that is really not real. So then why would we want to be involved with a higher state that might be able to help us to understand ourselves and others better when we are already thinking we've got it all figured out? Well, we don't have it all figured out. And if anyone's really honest with themselves, that figuring out leads to finding out you don't have it figured out. I mean, everyone else. But of course, we tend to lean into being evaluated from a perspective that relates to a version of what we think we are like. And this is fundamental in humanity's engagement with life. There are all kinds of other fundamentals, as many of you who have thought about these things will begin to recognize and have recognized. And in that recognition, even include yourselves in those. The moment you start to include yourselves in those particular notations, then it's the day you have begun to be okay with understanding a little bit about yourself and a little bit about others. Because if you have difficulty with this, why would you think that others wouldn't? But it's not always others that have difficulties. You will have difficulty with some aspects of an engagement with a persona that you've lit into and plasticized and hold dear and wish to protect. This takes a lot of intensity and a lot of energy to do, and a lot of focus. The idea of beginning to know that you are capable is the moment you get to see those kinds of things happen in your life, and you say, okay, they happen to me, so I have to be a little bit careful here. And just notice, this is one of those times when it's happening. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. Notice it. And be sincere about attempting to calm that down. This will cause the personality, because it's tricky, to be uptight, uncomfortable. Some would say, if no one else is doing it, why should I? And some do say that. I've heard this many times. And I would say, do what you can, because you're affecting those people who wouldn't. It's not noticeable automatically by you. because you would naturally notice when they weren't doing things, because you are protecting your zone of comfort. Okay, all of that stuff. And not negative, just the things we go through when we're trying to learn about a broader view of engaging. One of the things we do learn is we have a thing that we protect. We call it personality because we need words. And it's an image process. And we know that. And we learn that there are degrees of engagement. High degree of engagement and importance versus a lower degree. We've been doing this for, God, since the beginning, I guess, because we're very tribal in that. We do it in education. We do it in almost anything. And that doesn't mean education is bad. It's just what we do. It doesn't mean that other kind of pyramidal points of reference are bad. It's just how we tend to do things. When you get into this functional knowing that I was talking about, you are noticing yourself do things like that. And you notice others do it. And you begin to realize if it's hard for you not to do it, it's got to be hard for them not to do it. There's a level of compassion or caring that can be there. It happens in spiritual stuff all the time. You can figure that one out for yourself. And if you can't, send in a question. I'll give you a couple of indications of how that works for us. And it's fine. The dilemma with those higher states is that if you meet a being who actually does have an engagement with higher states, they know they're a human being. They don't elevate themselves. They're not trying to do that. Trying to be helpful most of the time. And that's really hard. Because we don't like to be told what to do. And if there's anything that irks us more, is someone being adamant about how valuable what they're saying is. So we have an automatic reflex that comes up. And that automatic reflex is the thing that interferes with linking up with a deeper level of understanding related to folks and related to themselves. This is what the ancients or the sages or the philosophers, the wise so-called folks who have talked about. And they've talked about for thousands of years. So it's not something new. But when you have an experience of it once, it's a beginning. Dozens and dozens of times, it's confusing. Why? Because you also begin to notice your relationship with life when you don't have it. And it bothers you. Because you want that kind of level of clarity. Well, this is me talking. Oh, no, that's something else. I don't know what that is. Even that question tells you that once in a while that may be a reality. It is rare to have that. It is not rare to have people tell you they have it. But it's rare to have it. Our hope is that it becomes less rare. And if everyone has that kind of thing, then we're not pushing forward the importance of the images that we are already madly in love with. And we have them. Just being honest about it. It's there to see. And if you don't see them in yourself, others may see them based on their version of what they believe that would look like. And we do that with each other all the time. You assess other people based on what? You engage with them and look for flaws all the time. Higher state folks don't look for flaws as much. They look for how can that individual be helped, and will they allow it to be helpful? And I'm talking about energetic engagement, not forced, but related to another state that can operate through them, and they know the difference between that state and themselves. This in our world is fundamentally difficult. And it has been fundamentally difficult and will remain that way because of the feature that we tend to engage with. It relates to society, and that is the pyramidal process. We need to have that because we can't engage with each other well yet. Now, that statement that I just made would send people screaming about how nonsensical it was. We engage with people all the time, and this is the right way to do it, and I have the right way to do it, and blah, 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 blah. In fact, that is the protection of a form we call personality, and the elevation of that form into a sphere of value related to that individual. It's the nature of what we do. And if you are a human being and gain access to an understanding, then you will see it in you, and you will see it in others. Be careful. You are the assessor or the judger, and you're judging through the thing that you actually do. I think that's what I was trying to put across with that statement, Carol. And I hope that helps a little bit. You know how difficult it is. There's no perfect folks. And we just like to have the sense that we are as valuable, because we have a great fear that we're not as valuable as other people. Some people are valuable in some things, other people are less valuable in those. And this happens all over the place. And fundamentally, we will look for things that we could call valuable. And fundamentally, we try to not look for things when we're not valuable. Although, it can be helpful if you do both. Find a balance in there someplace. Thank you very much, Carol, for this question. It's I find it interesting. I hope others do too. And here's another question. And this one is from Marlene Best. And she says, sometimes when there are energy increases, I feel physically jumpy or agitated, like a flopping fish. This links into another question that's very similar to Catherine from British Columbia. This often happens in the night. When I remember, I do the balancing or the redirection, the with the 3 lower centers, and this has often helped things to calm down, and I can get back to sleep. But sometimes it takes a really long time to make a difference, and I'm not sure which exercise to use. My question is, what is the difference between redirecting and balancing? And even the pump, for that matter. What is the energetic intent and process of each of these exercises? Often, if there is an increase in anyone, they will be the form that they've already constructed as valuable will be, which we don't pay attention to all the time, by the way, just to make that a reality, will have pressure on it. Pressure to be more noticed, or pressure, it's almost like putting more air in a balloon than you're normally used to. And that balloon is a form that's constructed physically, emotionally, mentally. That's the personality construct. And it's fine. But if more pressure comes in, it tries to stretch that energy out of a shape that's already constructed. And by the way, this is also involved in something that is called by so many people in so-called spiritual domains, this idea of initiation, which is fundamentally very different than what often people come up with, but nonetheless, we have initiations in clubs and all kinds of things. It's used fundamentally for, let's say, initiation rites. More a rite than, okay, if you go through this, you can join my club. If you go through that, you can join my club. And everyone here has gone through the same thing, so don't worry about it. You'll be fine, that kind of thing. Means if energy can come into that balloon kind of engagement, or how we function and engage with life as a natural formula, as it relates to each individual, if that can be stretched, then you can see what it's stretching better. And what happens when that form is stretched, what happens, and how you can get it back together again. That's the principle, the last part, how you can get it back together again. This is a fundamental thing. We try to get it back to how it was before in relationship to the comfort zone that we feel is valuable. This is how it works. And in growing, that leaves a gap. But there's reactive responses to any stretching that goes on. And this is really important to understand, because it will go on as you grow all the time. And you can see the cycles of that stretching occurring way into your lives chronologically. So, the actual question is, what happens when, for example, you do the balancing? Well, the balancing is turning on the hands so that energy can flow. And it's like a little catalyst. And, for example, you might do it under your armpits for your emotional responses, and then rolling it over. First, the hands are down. I know you can't see that, so I apologize for that. Drop the little fingers, roll the hands over, and the energy moves up out of solar plexus, root, and gonad centers, but it's mainly focused on the connecting link at the solar plexus. So it's trying to move up and away from reaction responses that might keep you awake at night. Yes. Might keep you uncomfortable during the day. Might make you tremendously sensitive to almost anything that you are sensitive to, but you wouldn't naturally be as sensitive to when you're engaging with life. We all have great fears that we will not be seen and heard. Certainly I had those, especially on a Thursday night from time to time. But I also have them when I'm talking to myself and trying to understand something beyond what I think I understand now, as you would have, as you do the same thing. So the balancing pulls energy upward. If you do it at the temples relating to the throat area, roughly, then all of a sudden you realize that it can turn the will on. Meaning you're trying to pull that energy up from that gonad root solar plexus area personality formulation system and move it to give you just a little bit of time to have you can take a breath and soften down, or attempt to soften down, your relationship with how you are responding. Same is true for redirecting. If you could redirect your solar plexus up through the chest, upper part of the chest, and then back through the brow center. When you notice that you're uncomfortable, as Marlene says, sometimes it really works, then that will be helpful. Same is true for the root and the gonad center. It's the nature of how the chakras are open relative to the method of functioning in your personality construct or style. This is a little hard to understand. We don't always talk this way. We normally speak about, I had a reaction, I engage with reaction, that reaction is bothering me, that one is not. I'm not, that didn't mean anything to me, these kinds of things. This is how all of us work in our lives. Work, engage, better word. The pump is somewhat similar. The pump is letting your head come down, turn your hands on, point them at the brow. Your brow will come on a little bit, drop the head a little bit. Energy goes down, wraps around the buttocks area, and as you slowly come back towards the neck, pull back on the neck, and then next step, back on the head just a little bit, energy goes over the head. So it's circulating that energy to give you a few seconds so that you can calm down your needed reflex to protect your personality engagement. And sometimes it will just move that energy and you say, wow, did that ever work? You can do the same thing with the life map. It's a dilemma. Now here, this may or may not help. You're caught in the middle of something. There are things that you're okay with changing. There are things you're not okay with changing. There are fundamental, important things. Each individual has them. Normally they're related to the personal will. And sometimes they're related to just fundamentally, we make general statements about our value, this kind of thing. This is normal for us. We do this all the time. And when I say we, I mean everybody. Test it yourself. See how you are right about some things. And you know you're the only right person. Not real. But it doesn't matter whether it's real or not. It supports the zone that you believe is comfortable for you to engage with. And this is the nature of how we function. We meaning us human beings. If you're not from this planet, it may be a different thing. If you're not from this planet, it might be similar as well. We don't know that. Just talking about here. When you're looking at these things, understand, if you can, that if you're actually growing, there will be, in the old terminology was, there will be a disturbance in the weir. And the weir was the whole of the area around you that related to you going through some kind of change. But that's not, that's how I kind of laugh a little bit about stuff that might make us feel uncomfortable. But in our engagement with actually dealing with change, it's very common to feel uncomfortable. I remember asking a person what they thought change was, kind of change, spiritual growth or very constructive growth would be. I said, well, I would like to be more like I am, but 2 or 3 times like that. And I thought, my God, we would not be able to stand ourselves because we are equipped with a piece of equipment, a brain and a nervous system. It's our equipment. We don't know it's a tool for perceiving on these levels, but we kind of get that if we simplify things. But that system is capable, more capable of doing much more than we use it for. We primarily use it to indent, underline our engagement with how we believe life should be. And we move through that kind of engaging towards something else that remains unknown. And there's a bunch of theories about it. And also, there are those who have gone, that maybe even here or gone before us, that have really shown us there's more. But also there are rules. You are not allowed to do that. Only they could. Or others like them have said, look at everyone, as they grow, will be this and will be that. And they will learn that they are something beyond what we understand on an average level of engagement with life. So this is what we do. We draw a line, average. Okay? Now, anyone below that, anyone above that, So where do you want to be? This is the tactic that we use to allow life to touch us so that we fundamentally can look at it and not necessarily question it. Just feel more comfortable within a layer of engagement that can justify and validate the zones that we happen to live in relative to our understanding before that changes, if it can change. And change again is what bothers us in relationship to more energy coming in. It's really interesting. When it first comes in, it comes in like you are. That's disturbing because we don't believe we're like that. It comes in on a tonal level, harmonics, so to speak. Eventually, it softens down gently, respectfully, in ways that we do not understand because we're used to having it in a tonal reference that we're used to and comfortable with as we see the world the way it should be, according to our way of seeing things. Everyone, 8 billion people on the planet, without thinking even, engages with that particular kind of engagement. Not a negative thing, it's what is reflexive in us. And sometimes it's really helpful. Often it's not. So we're working our way slowly through this kind of thing, and these tools really help you to do that. From my point of view, but they're not perfect. I have to keep saying that. And if they were perfect, then automatically you would adjust and change. Their imperfection is in the engagement with the energy itself that we can't handle. Because if we're only used to having certain flows of energy in us for a purpose that relates to a certain style of engagement, then that is our place where change can and will occur. The old adage that everybody knows about from the East was, is your glass half empty or half full? Well, whatever you make of that adage, it just gives us a little hint about how we function. And it's not to be looked at from a negative point of view. It's more like, holy smokes, wow. Wow, interesting. And then go on from there. I wish everybody this year a tremendous increase in their own particular engagement with that flow that comes through. And may it be gentle, less intense than how we normally are. It is roughly about the time when we're going to meditate tonight. I've gone through 2 of these, and thanks to Marlene and thanks to Carol, and thanks to all of you who are sitting down right now, writing questions and sending them in. There will be a flurry, I am sure, and I appreciate that from everyone. Please take care of yourselves.
Namastasye, 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 namo namaha. Lalita Jagadambe Janani Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha Mamba Lalita Devi Tvam Ananda Sagari Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Triambake Devi Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Swarupaye Namo Namaha. Vajramanitya Kataka Kiritaye Namo Namaha. Vajramanitya Kataka Kiritaye Namo Namaha. Kasturi Tilakola Sanitilaye Namo Namaha. Kasturi Tilakola Sanitilaye Namo Namaha. Om Hasmare Kankitala Sanvastakaye Namo Namaha. Saracchapeya Pushpabhanasikaye Namo Namaha. Saracchapeya Pushpabhanasikaye Namo Namaha. Lasatkanchana Tatanka-yugalaye Namo Namaha. Manidarpana Sankasha Kapolaye Namo Namaha. Manidarpana Sankasha Kapolaye Namo Tambula Purita Smera Vadanaye Namo Namaha. Supakmadadini Bijaradanaye Namo Namaha. Supakmadadini Bijaradanaye Kambupuka Samuchaya Kandaraye Namo Namaha. Kambupuka Samuchaya Kandaraye Namo Namaha. Stula Mukta Palodara Suharaye Namo Namaha. Shabadhamangalya Mangalaye Namo Namaha. Shabadhamangalya Mangalaye Namo Namaha. Padma Pasham Kushala Sadkarabjaye Namo Namaha. Shringaramध्यamaye Namo Namaha. Divyabhushanasandroharanjitaye Namo Namaha.
Now we'll just do the balancing and the grounding on your own, and have a great year. Good night, everybody.